So we've completed the pants. Now we're going to move on to the top. So we've used our layout sheet and we have identified that we need to find packet number 1. Is that 1 or 2? Oh, packet number 2, which is the pieces for the pink file, which comes with, in the packet there's also the tarlatan. So this is an antique file. We've already cut out the pattern pieces, so we're ready to actually go right into the fabric and cut. Now this is a corded file, and you'll see that there's actually a cord that's been, I don't know how they do it, but they wrap it in the machine of manufacturing, and they manufacture it. But there is a cord under there, and this can unravel. So you really want to not overthink it. And this is antique material. It's just phenomenal. And then we have our tarlatan. And we are going to cut out the front and the back. And there is not margin for error here. So you really have to get it correct. And the amount of kits we have created for this project have to do with how much of this fabric we have, because the stripe we had made and the ecru we had made, but this is antique. And it's really like, I think it's like working with butter, don't you think, Jose?
Yes, it's very nice, very smooth, yes.
And you tell me if you thought it was horrible, wouldn't you?
I sure would tell you, yeah. Okay, so, I'm gonna cut this right in the,
Yeah,
just following the line, because we need to do that on the fold.
Yeah.
Which I have right there.
We don't have to do this. Oh yeah, we do have to do this on the fold. That's right, of course. It's the boy. I've been thinking about the girl. So this is on the fold.
Okay.
So we've got it. Now we're going to do our cutting. There's a slight bit of a curve there. Now there'll be a little bit of fabric left. Not a lot, but there's enough to do something. I mean, I could definitely make a hat out of that. I mean, there's plenty there. You've got your band, you've got your top, you've got plenty there. But there's not enough to make too many mistakes. So we're cut out. So then the next step is we're gonna read our pattern instructions for a second, and we'll be right back. So we're back, we've got our pieces cut out, we've pinned them. We are going to start assembling it. As I said, that this material can unravel, so you don't want to overthink it. You want to get in there and get it sewn up before you start to have some unraveling. Now it's not like it's going to fall apart or anything, but you just don't want to mess around too much. So we're going to start with sewing first the shoulder seams. So we're going to get those in. And we're going to sew this by machine. This is quite thick material compared to the average doll material. It's very nice and thick and luxurious. So we're going to sew it, and we're going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance, 10 inches per foot. We do not have to use pink thread. The white thread is absolutely fine. It's not going to show in any way. You do have pink thread in your kit, and that is for working with the silk ribbon binding. And we're going to go right into now, and we're going to sew the side seams. There's no darts in the boy's costume, so it's dependent on its shape completely in the cut of our pattern. So if it doesn't look good, it's our fault. So we've got that part done.
And I'm going to go ahead and do a
You're going to do a running stitch.
running stitch, like an 1/8 of an inch.
Right. We're doing this just so that we don't have to deal with unraveling. Now we might cut into that a little bit for the fit, and that's okay. And we're going to do a running stitch around the neckline. And we'll do that 1/8 of an inch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we press this open, this seams, the shoulder seams.
Exactly. We're going to press that, so then that way we can do the running stitch over the
neckline.
neckline. Or basting stitch. I'm sorry. I keep saying running stitch. I mean basting. And you could do that. You could absolutely do that by hand. We would probably do that by hand, but we don't want to have a video that's longer than Gone with the Wind. So that's looking really good. This is where you can see the fabric. It's just so luscious to work with. Okay. Actually, that worked out really good because your file lines are all in perfect line alignment. We'll overcast those.
Now I'll go ahead and do the basting stitch on the neckline.
Yeah.
I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, there we have it.
We got it.
Okay.
Now we will do the side seams.
Yes.
Or do you want to, I think we should do the side seams. How are we, I forgot how, I better look at the pattern to, or the directions. Yes, we sew up the side seams, and then we're going to insert the sleeves in that, which we do that by hand. So we're going to do the side seams, and then we are going to baste the waist.
Do the basting, yes.
Because the next thing we're going to do is the ribbon binding. I mean, you shouldn't have a lot of unraveling. If you get with it and do some kung fu sewing and get this done quickly, there's not.
Just come on in and I'll show you Kung Fu sewing, okay?
But there's no crying in our sewing class.
Okay, so a 1/4 of an inch.
Yeah. And this is where you can, you definitely want to take that. Because we want it to fit him really beautifully. Now, anybody trying to keep up with you would have an anxiety attack. I know. I have to try.
Sorry, can go slow,
I know when doing this project and I have to do sewing with you, it's like scary. Okay, so then we're gonna
We're
press
gonna
that.
press these sides open.
We're gonna press that out, and then we're going to top stitch down the bottom at 1/8 of an inch, and then we will be back, and then we'll show you the next step that we're gonna do. So we've sewn up our shoulder seams, our side seams. We went ahead and we went in and overcast the shoulder seams and the side seams. You see those little lumpy white pieces? Can you turn it back to the side face there? That's the actual cord that makes the shape. So we've just to make everything safe, we went in and overcast all of those parts. The neck has already been overcast by machine. We're going to do the armholes next, get those done, because they're going to be exposed for a little while, and we don't want to have unraveling. So we're going to just do a little simple little running stitch here. Now, if this shows, when we're going to set the sleeves in by hand, once the sleeves get set in, and if any of these stitches show, we'll just clip them out. So it's not a worry. We don't want to go too close to the edge because it's a strong fabric, but it does unravel. It unraveled when it was brand new, and it unravels now. So there you can see really the cording that's wrapped in the silk. Get that clipped. We've turned over the back at 1/4 of an inch. It's just one fold. You cannot do more than one fold because it becomes too bulky. And
It'll be kind of tight on the doll too.
yes, and now we're going to do, once we get this all trimmed, we're going to do on the machine, we're going to do a basting stitch.
1/8 of an inch.
1/8 of an inch. Just because it'll make it easier when you go to apply the ribbon binding. You could do this by hand, but for time's sake, we're doing this by machine. And we'll trim that a little bit. Get rid of all the fuzzies, so we don't want them in the Got that nice and trim. Now the moment of truth. We have to see if our pattern is going to fit this doll.
I'll just trim the neckline too a little bit.
Yes, just a smidge, just the tiniest bit.
Okay.
So we've got that now. We've got Georgiana back on the body, and we just have her, that's gonna be him, just have her taped on so we can take her on and off. So that way when we get rough with it, there's no head there to deal with. So I think the back is a very nice fit. So that's good. So let's pin that closed, and then we'll look and see how it looks from the front. And then hopefully the pattern has worked. Okay, let's see. I think that looks fantastic. The neckline looks great. The shoulders look good. The fit is beautiful. So, I mean, are you happy with that?
Will it really matter? Yes, I'm happy.
Yes, it would. Because if it didn't fit, I could say, it's your seam allowance. It couldn't be me. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take 14 inches of ribbon, and we are going to cut it out of our little stash here that's in your kit. And we're going to cut 14 inches because that's what we need for the neck and the waist. Now, it doesn't say in the pattern that you need 14 inches, but after you get the bottom or the top assembled, take your measuring tape, measure it, and then you'll figure out what you need. Now, we didn't put that in because what if you're doing altering the pattern for a doll that's smaller? You may not need as much. So, but no matter what you want, you'll have enough, and we're certainly not going to waste it. So we're going to go over to our iron, and there's Annabelle and Louie. They've been very good today. So we're going to, and then we're going to show them that again. We do not run the iron. We just kind of pull. Perfect. And then we're going to now mist it a little bit because I think that helps for the next stage, which is the fold over. Oop, I've got to get in there somehow. There. You know, silk is alive, and it's very interesting. This is going so much easier than the last piece that we did. Sometimes it just, you know, so let me show that. So it's really nice. So it just depends on the piece that you get sometimes. Okay, that's lovely. All right, we're going to go back. So now we're going to, where do you want to start?
I'm going to start at the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good place to get warmed up. Oh yeah, you didn't clip that.
I did, but yeah, it keeps on.
Oh yeah, it'll
Keep on unraveling slightly, but the basting stitching it prevents it from holding it a little longer. Yes.
That's why you can't overthink this. You've just got to get in, and once you cut it, you got to be prepared to start sewing it. So we're just doing a little 1/8 of an inch fold over, and you're just doing a couple of loops in, making sure it's nice and tight on the edge. And then we're just going to go in. Again, this is not something that is actually really going to be seen. There will be we call it an overpant because it's not over a skirt, it's an overpant that's going to go on top of this. But this is just because in case someone happened to look up his overskirt or overpant, this makes a nice finish. So we'll go ahead, this is just a little, we're gonna do a little flea bite in and stab in and then a decent sized stitch on the inside and out. So we'll do all this and then we will come back. We're back and we've got the neckline all bound and we've got the waistline bound. Both of these things, as I've said earlier, are really not going to show, but we know they're there and now it looks very nice. We've done the fitting as we showed you earlier and it's good. So we're going to move on to the next part of putting the top together, and that is the pickle. The pickle also, if you had it on the back, it would be a hump, but it's in the front, so it's a pickle. So this is a piece that we had that was your pants were cut out of this. And we didn't cut out the pickle at that time because we didn't want to confuse the situation. So here we're going to line up our stripes with the pickled pieces. So we've got a good fit there, which is going to still leave us enough pieces to cut out our shoe parts. So we'll have plenty of material for that. We have to get 4 shoe parts out of this fabric, which I think we can easily do. Okay, so I think we're ready for that. Cut that out.
I'm going to cut this out of this fabric.
And we have to cut out 2 pieces of tarlatan. So we're going to do that. And just lay that over. And we should have an equal amount of tarlatan as we have the stripe material. And this will have quite a bit. You'll have quite a bit left over here. Enough to probably make a hat with the scraps. So we're going to pin that down.
Let me just make sure it all fit.
Okay. It's gotten a little
I know
wonky.
we cut a little bit for the
the waistband.
the waistband, and
Yeah.
that used up a little.
But it should have been a long piece.
Okay, I'm gonna do this.
We're going to improvise.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna make this smaller, just that way I can fit it
Yes.
in the.
Yeah, we didn't plan on for your technique of cutting out, so. There.
It goes on a bias.
And tarlatan, tarlatan also has a bias too, so don't think it doesn't. And one of the reasons that the pickle is on the slant is not because we want it to curve, which of course it will, but it also makes an interesting design.
Okay, so that's one layer. We need another one.
You'll all have better results of cutting it out if you cut it out all at once, not like how we kind of delayed the cutting. They could have fit the pieces better, but we wanted to get right to the pant and not mess around. Most
Okay.
of you, when you're sewing, you don't have phones ringing and UPS and the postman and Samantha going to the post office and Eddie working on packing and David doing her inventories. I'm not complaining, it's just what it is. And of course, the 3 bulldogs are no trouble at all. They don't require any attention. All right, so we've got a whole bunch of scraps here, but they're not good for much. So we're gonna just let those go, which is very hard for me to do.
Okay, so we'll remove the pins. I'm going to show you what's next.
So we need to check to make sure we've got a good alignment with the 2 pieces. It looks, even from here, it looks right.
I'm going to put 2 silks facing
Each other.
each other.
And the good news about this is there's not a right side or a wrong side.
Nope.
They're both.
No, wait, sorry. No, never mind. No, we'll do this. Okay, so
There you go. That's a better idea.
yes. And I'm going to do basting stitch on the machine right at these ends.
Right.
And
You're going to do that at an 1/8 of an inch. This you definitely want to be at an 1/8 of an inch because the trim that's going to cover this is at a 1/2 an inch. It's 1/2 an inch wide. So you do want to make sure you do this at an 1/8 of an inch. Some of these things we're saying are probably not in the pattern. But that's what you need to do. Don't do what Jose is doing unless you have experience.
Don't do it at home and put the children away, you know. Okay, so now we face
pickle to pickle, and they're lining up perfectly.
pin it together.
The fussy cutting is working.
Okay. I'm gonna clip this a little bit just to make that side a little smooth. Okay, so I'm gonna do our basting stitch all around.
You're gonna go just the front.
Just right here?
Just the front.
Okay.
Just that one side. When you look at your pattern piece, it'll have the 1/4 inch all the way around it, but at this stage you just sew this part up.
Making curves, you need to go a little slow, as you can see, and just pick up the foot and keep on doing it slow, and use your hand to do the stitches as well instead of stepping on the pedal.
If Opal could get her belt fixed, we could be using Opal. And then you can really control. Uh-oh.
Okay, so there it is.
All right, now the moment of truth. We have to.
I'm gonna do a few clips right here at the
those clips.
very tight curve.
I'm using your pointer, and that's looking really good. I don't even think we need to press that. I think it's really good. Except we do need to, no, we don't. I was just gonna say we do need to press over the sides, but we don't. No,
Not even the sides?
No.
No? Okay.
No, because that'll create bulk, and we don't want that.
Okay.
So next thing we have to do is get our cotton balls, which I think are behind me. Do you want to grab those? Should be a bag of cotton balls. I'm really happy with the alignment of the stripes. So now we're going to stuff it, but as it says in the pattern, you're going to stuff it in the first one. You could probably get the whole ball in the little tip of the pickle. But then after this, we need to break those up so they're not lumpy. We do not want any lumps in it. So those probably will fill that spot. But now we need to, let's break them up, Jose.
Okay, let me try to see if...
And I see lumps already. We got to do a little, we got to break it up. We don't want it to look like the pickle has cellulite. We've got to have it there. Yeah, you just kind of put a little bit in at a time, fluff it down. It's going to take a few cotton balls. We didn't include that in your kit because it's something that would have made the kit so huge. I think most people have cotton balls, or they've got in their sewing room some stuffing. So it's going to take a few more. We use, usually for projects like this, we have upholstery, cotton that's really wonderful, but you know, it comes in bales, and let's see, it's looking nice and tight, and look at those stripes. I mean, that is just fantastic. I hate to put any trim on it because it just is aligned so perfectly. So I think I'd add a couple more just because it's gonna settle in. I think that's probably good. Looks great. So now we are going to fit it onto the top. So we have to decide, maybe at the neck, let's do a little fold over at the neck. And maybe that we should have pressed in the iron, but we could still do that. Or we don't have to do it, we can just use our fingers. You know, we're not going to worry about turning over the sides because we've got trim to go there. And Jose's just adjusting it because it was a little wonky. That looks looking pretty good. And
Okay.
this looks good. Okay.
Looking
Now let's get it down at the bottom. And this is where you're really going to have all your cotton, and then that we're going to just turn over just to get it right about at the edge of the binding. So that's good. Now again, we don't have to totally become crazy about this because there is going to be trim put right on top of that. It's going to be a little over pant. looking really good. Now, I think before we do the sewing, we should try it on him and see how it's working. Now, we have to realize that he's going to have an overskirt or overpant on this. He's also going to have a nice ruffle around his neck. So, what do you think?
I think it looks good.
Okay, show it to me because I'm looking through
Maybe
the kit. A little wet.
a little wonky on this side, maybe slightly.
Well,
Maybe.
do you think it needs a little touch up of stuffing there? Has it gotten saggy?
No, it's fine. It's just maybe a little more over.
Okay, just a little adjust there.
Yeah.
That's why you have to try it on often. I think that's good. I think that's good, and I think the next step is we're going to sew this down. So we'll sew this down, and then we will come back and we will show you the next phase that we have to do. So we're back. We have done the fitting of the pickle. So it's been fitted. It is tacked down pretty good. It's going to get another row of tacking when we put the trim on it, which will be next. But this is the time to fit it to make sure that it's okay. We're a little bit lumpy on one side, but we could go in and fix that. But I think we're really pretty happy with it at this point. So we'll be back with the next step. We're back. We have made the adjustments that we needed to make with the stuffing of the pickle, and it's looking very good. So I don't know why this camera's, oh, there it is. Now it's focusing. So it's looking very good. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to do the trimming. So we're going to take it off, and we're going to start the trimming of the pickle. This is something that you do at this stage because there are things that go over the pickle. So we're doing this now. So the trim goes up the center, and then it goes all over our running stitches. I will tell you honestly, most original Polichinelle costumes trim like this is just glued on. It's not even sewn, but we're sewing it. So this trim we're gonna pin it in place because it has to be in perfect alignment. So we don't want to make any mistakes.
And I'm going to leave a little extra for now. Okay?
No, because we can always trim that later if we have to. And then we have to do the sides. Or do you want to go ahead and sew that up now?
I'm going to go ahead and sew that up,
Okay.
and then we will do the sides.
Yeah, because then we have all the pins to deal with. So we'll do that, and we will get that sewn up, and then we will come back and do the sides. We've got the center trimmed very nicely. Now we're going to do the sides. This is kind of one of the important things as far as keeping it symmetrical, because there's a slight curve. So we're going to pin this, and we really want to get this right because there's nothing, this pickle's hanging right on out there. So we want it to look right. So we're going, yeah, there we go. We're going to go down. But we also have to go across the top, Jose. Yeah.
Like so. Okay,
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
okay
it
then.
goes across the top.
All right, so in that being said, then this is what I'll do. I'm going to begin from this side,
Exactly. There you go.
We don't need to cut the trim
No.
to do the corner, and you just keep on doing it.
And it's not an easy thing to sew the trim onto the stuffed pickle, but we did it, and we're not going to worry about if it's that tight, because there's another step which is going to really make it tight, is when we put the bells on it. So we'll go back then and really tighten it up. And as you sew it, you'll kind of correct whatever wiggles there are.
And I'm gonna leave it like that for now.
Yeah,
Okay.
so hold it up and let's see if hold it straight on to me. Let's see if it looks pretty good. Nice shape. It's almost like a little bib on the front of his outfit, but no, it's perfect shape. Okay, well, we'll get that sewed up and we'll be back. We have the trim all completed. It looks very nice. I like your little mitered points, Jose. Those look really great. So we're ready to move on. We're done with this. We're ready to move on to the next project, which is we're going to do the sleeves. So we'll get all those items prepared and we will be right back with you. So we're back and we're going to move on. We've got the tops all done. Now we're going to move on to the sleeves. So we have our pattern layout suggestion. So we have pulled out bag number 8 and 4. So we're going to get those items prepared.
We're gonna start with the cuffs.
Yes, we should start with
We
the
should
cuffs.
start with the cuffs, okay? So that's what we recommend. So
Let's see what's in there.
you get a nice wrapping on this.
I know it.
Just like-
Nothing's falling out.
You know,
I mean, it is not.
so we will press this.
All right, let's do that. So we can get this all pressed out.
I'm gonna press this on the half. We need it like that anyways.
Yes.
Okay. So
And again, it doesn't matter which side you use. There's not a right side or a wrong side. So you're pressing that. We're going to get a nice sharp fold there.
yes. Okay.
All right, we're back. So go back and
Okay. And I'm gonna secure.
the top is on the fold.
Yes. The top is on the fold, but we need these two cuffs on the fold. So I'm going to make sure the stripes are lining up. That way they don't move around.
And that's very important because it does help keep everything in.
Okay, and then we're going to fold that again
And we'll pin it again too.
on the fold. Okay, on the top right here should be on the fold.
And you're going to trim the top of that pattern piece because it's going on the fold, so there's no margin there that we want left. I guess Bixby's not happy today. He's in a mood. Samantha, who did the work on the computer for the pattern, did a very nice job with the fussy cutting. It's worked really good. We didn't intend it to be a guide. We just thought it was a fun thing to do, but it actually works as a nice little guide.
Okay, we have our talenton, and we will do the same. It's already pressed on the half. We will do another half.
Now, you don't have to do it this way. You could do it individually, but this works for us.
Okay.
Now this piece, you don't have a margin for error, so really make sure you get this right because there's not enough fabric here left to even cover a button. Maybe
4 buttons.
you could,
Yeah.
you could, but the average person could not. Shall we go ahead and cut out the sleeve now, or do you want to?
We can wait. We can show them this
Okay.
this process.
All right.
Okay. So. I'm just gonna pin this side, just that one lower part.
Okay.
Okay, like so. Then we fold. You can also do some pin right there, so the fabric doesn't move, matching your lines.
And then we're just going to sew the sides.
Yes, we're going to encase this.
I guess everybody's decided they want to have a wrestling match now. Was that Annabelle? Annabelle's feeling left out. This is actually a fairly simple cuff, I think, to make.
Yes, it's very simple. Okay, so there we have.
All right, now we have to sew it up. That's not much to sew. This again, you could do this by, we're going to do 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. You could do this by hand or machine, whatever works for you. Oh, and first, the machines work better if we plug them in. That's always, it's a good idea.
Michael stepped on the cord this morning, and
I did. I mean, we're lucky that no one's tripped on these lights. They're used to having them around. Now, of course, if you have the skill to do what Jose's doing, feel free to do it. But if you don't try it. just have to turn them inside out and see how they look.
And again, if you like, you can clip this, trim this a little bit.
Yeah, just a smidge, just to...
Here at the corner, what you want to do, make a slight clip. That way it's not so bulky when you turn it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anybody who's worked in a shirt factory would know that they need to do that, but not everybody's worked in a shirt factory. Jose can actually make men's shirts, which is really one of the most difficult things there is to do.
Yeah, ladies' clothes, it's much easier than men's.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
We need our little pointer. That looks really good.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Nice.
That one looks really good.
In fact, I made, one of my nieces, I made her quinceañera dress. You can laugh if you want.
Listen, quinceañera dresses are amazing. I mean, they're like the little 1860s ball gowns. And I went to shopping in a place that sold supplies for the quinceañera dresses, and I was blown away by the amount of jewels and embroidery. And I mean, you can spend thousands of dollars on a quinceañera dress.
Thousands, yes.
And those of you that don't know what a quinceañera is, it's a sweet 16 birthday party for girls.
Yes.
It's very special. So the next thing, those look great, and I don't even think we have to press them out. They're just looking good.
Okay.
So the next thing we have to do is we have to trim them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to trim.
Sorry, but before, I'm going to do a basting stitch. That way it stays in place.
Yeah. All right, so let's do that.
An eighth of an inch or?
An eighth of an inch would be good. I don't think we give, I think it's just on the pattern, a quarter of an inch, but an eighth is fine. Well, actually, by the time you sew it on, you go an eighth and an eighth.
Okay, I'm going to trim a little bit.
So those look really good.
Okay.
So what we have to do now is, before we go on, we're going to trim the out perimeter of the cuff with the cream trim, and then we're going to put the gold trim on it. So we've shown you that on other garments. So we will get that sewn up, and then we will come back and we will cut out the main part of the sleeve and get that going. We have the cuff all trimmed out, and there's also another step that you need to do at this point is on the back side of the cuff, you will take your pink ribbon and you will sew it down to the edges of the cuff. So when the cuff is folded over, that will be what will be peeking out as that little pink ribbon. And you just fold it over at the top and fold it over at the bottom, which is the narrowest part is where it's going to go to the actual sleeve. Do not worry about your stitches showing through. It's not, they're not going to be visible when this is all attached together. So we've got this done. Jose's sewing up the other, and then we will move on to the cutting out of the sleeve. Next step we're going to do is we are going to cut out our sleeve, and we're going to take the fabric from packet number 4. Jose was busy doing some sewing on the cuffs. I pressed the fabric out so it's ready to go, and we pressed it, and then we press it on the fold so that way we get a nice evenness. So now we're going
to fold this again because we need this on the fold, okay?
And we should end up with a nice little bit of extra fabric here, I think. Oh yeah, definitely enough to, actually there's enough there for a mignonette costume. We're going to try to, as you can see, Jose's trying to pin into the seam allowance so that way we don't have sewing holes.
Okay, we take our calatin, we do the same.
Now, if you're going to do it like Jose's doing it, you're going to probably have to have your scissors sharpened after making this costume.
Yes, I think so. They're getting dual. Yep.
And by the way, David corrected me. He's in the other room working. A quinceañera is a 15-year birthday party, not a 16. But it is like our sweet 16 party, isn't it? Not Jose?
Yes.
Yeah, same kind of concept.
Okay, we have this much, and we will save it. We may need it
We've got a nice amount
or
there.
something else.
And there's nothing else required in that in bag number 4, so that's a little bonus. So now we're going to do this little tricky part. It's not that tricky. And this is another reason for that little sharp pressing line there that I made, which Jose is going to show you why we need that.
Okay.
You're keeping everybody in suspense. What's happening next?
What's happening? What is he doing? Okay, so now I'm going to compare. This is the opening of the arm. So how much do we have? I'm sorry, of the cuff. We have. How much is that now? It's like almost 1.5.
Yeah, well, yeah, just about 1 and 3/4.
1 3/4. Okay, so.
I mean, as long as you're opening, as long as it's not longer than the cuff, it's fine. So that's about 1 and
Okay, maybe do we have a pencil here?
Yeah, we do.
Yes. Okay.
We do.
Okay, this is going to be even better. Okay,
So why don't you do one and,
about so.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to mark that. Going to mark both of them.
Because that's not going to show when we're,
It's not going to show. No. What we are going to do now, we're going to top stitch this.
right there, double, and make a kind of a opening.
Kind of an opening. Okay, so that's why we have this line here.
Sharp
Okay,
line.
Sharp line.
That's why you need to press that, so.
Okay, we're going to do a quarter, an eighth of an inch, okay,
Between.
between the line. And I'm gonna go, not straight, but I'm gonna go curve up to here,
And
okay?
hit that mark.
Okay, we're on it. Turn around and do the same.
Now, this is not in your pattern directions, so that's why we have this video, so that we can show you things that are not. You can do this by hand too, if you like. It's either way is proper.
Okay, so having that stitched up, I'm going to proceed and do a slit, cut it all the way up, but don't go all the way to the stitching, okay?
Yeah, that's it.
Now, going to flip this around.
You might need to do a little snip there.
Okay, I'm gonna go back in there because it's
Bunching up.
bunching up. You don't want that. Even though there is not much we can do because there is no room. Well, maybe I can do
a tiny little bit. Yeah,
maybe a little more. And we'll see what happens.
That's gonna work. We just have to ease it
Good.
in.
Yep.
I think if we could just do, let's just do two tiny little snips at the top, just little, and I think that'll
Here, let me see.
unbunch it. Yeah, oh, you're easing it out, okay.
With your fingers, you know.
Just use your
and
fingers.
You got the help of the tarlatan that's stiffed and
Yeah, it's gonna be great, so that's good. Now, that, people, was an easy way to deal with a cuff opening.
yeah. If I show you the way they're made on the shirt,
And then
it's like
you'll cry, you'll be crying.
I'll be crying.
Where? Yeah.
We'll be here 3 days. Now, shaking is not part of the making the outfit, okay? I'm very shaky. You don't need to shake.
Well, you're probably ready for lunch.
So I'm just spinning
I
on.
know working with me makes you very nervous.
It's because you're very handsome, you know, and like, you're very shaky.
Oh, now
No,
you're-
I'm kidding.
Now,
That's-
now that's a bit much. Okay, that's.
I think this is okay. You know,
Well, there is an item that goes on there, so that when the I believe 2 bells go in that spot, so that will work perfectly. And this is also going to be gathered, so it's got gathers on at the wrist and at the armhole, so we're good with that.
okay. we got that one.
We'll do the other, and we'll be back with you, and we'll show you the next step. So the next step we're going to do, we've got both sleeves looking really beautiful. We are not going to press out that center crease. We're going to leave that there because that's going to help us when we insert the sleeve into the armhole. And we will fold it into our gather, so it'll just blend in. The next thing we have to do is we have to baste the whole item because we've got silk and tarlatan, and you have slippage. So this we're going to do probably at 1/8 of an inch because our seam allowance is 1/4. So we just want to baste it. Again, you can do this by hand. We're doing it by machine just because we want to expedite the process. But you can do it either way. We want to keep it flat. We don't want puckering happening between the tarlatan and the silk. It's a lovely silk to work with, but silk is slippery. There's nothing more beautiful than silk.
Okay.
All right.
And now I'm going to
You're going to do a little trimming.
trim all over it, all around it, just a little bit.
Just get it cleaned up so we don't.
Especially here on the sides of the sleeve, because we want to make sure these stitches hide after we close it together. You don't want those showing.
No.
Okay, so
That's ready for the next stage. So we'll go ahead and do the other, and we will, after we get that ready, we'll proceed to the next step. So we've gotten our sleeve together. We've sewn up the side seam, trimmed it good. Oh, no, we haven't sewn it up. We've trimmed it.
we trimmed it.
So we trimmed off the basting line, and now we're going to go in and we're going to sew the side up, and we're going to do a 1/4 of an inch.
1/4 of an inch.
I mean, we're losing a little bit of the volume because of the basting. That's the way it goes. So you're using 10 stitches per inch, which seems to work very good for doll clothes.
Optional, you can trim it to make it a little narrower, or you can leave it like that.
I think we should trim it. So we'll trim it, but you don't have to trim it. You could then turn around and overcast it.
Okay, so we are going to attach the cuffs, and you're going to leave the sleeves like that. You're not going to turn them the inside out
turn
yet.
it over yet.
Okay, we have the outside of the cuff, and this is the inside. Okay, so
What do you think you do?
okay, ladies. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. The one in the middle is the center. Here on your seam, you are going to place the center.
And you're placing the outside.
The outside facing the inside of the sleeve.
Right.
Okay, so we have,
Now you got to be slower because it. Okay. So
I'm going to pin that. And of course, we have a little the sleeve
opening.
is a little bigger, okay?
So we're going to just do a little pleat. Or you could do a tiny gather. If you're doing it by hand, you could just go in and gather that. But the pleat we should do as close to the cuff edge as possible. Because if you look at
Can you see?
a man's...
Can you see the pleat?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do the same over here. Okay, so there's hardly not much of a...
No. And then we just sew that up. So this you could do this by machine, or you could do this by hand. It would probably, with the size of it, be easiest to do it by hand.
By hand, yes.
Yes, so we're going to do that by hand. We'll sew this up, and then we will come back and show you our results. So we have attached the cuff. Jose sewed that by hand, and if you notice that the outside is facing the inside. So now we're going to flip the cuff over, turn it inside out, and flip the cuff. So you have to be very careful because this is not a huge amount of space. And you've got to get all that through without damaging material, but you can do it. Okay, so that looks good. Just flip it over. Now you're going to have to do some manipulation because at first it's not going to look quite like it's right, but you just have to keep working it until you get it right. Using your fingers, and then ultimately you use the iron and return it the other way. And then we've got, this is going one way, and there you go. So but do some pressing because that really makes it work. So I did some pressing there, and I can see that that's probably the cuff that I sewed. So I'm going to have to do a little correction in my trim because it's gone a little wonky, but I can fix that. So the next stage we're going to do is we're going to inset the sleeve. So we have the cuffs on. I've done a couple of little repairs where my trim had gotten a little wonky, fixed that up. So now we're ready to do the joyful thing of inserting sleeves.
Yes.
So we're going to do that next. I know it's something that people don't like to do. Well, some people love to do it, but a lot of people do not like to do it. So
okay.
I know you're really good at it, so tell.
Okay, so what I did here at the top of the sleeve, I fold it inside, okay, and then I press it
about a 1/16 of an inch.
1/16 of an inch, okay.
You don't even need to press this either, do you?
No, you don't. I did just in case that it would stay in place and it will be easier for me to do the gathering
stitches.
Okay, so I'm going to leave, I'm going to mark 1/2 inch from the hem, okay?
You're going to mark it with a pen.
With a pen. Oh, I'm losing it.
You're losing your sleeve.
And over here too.
Because you don't want bunchiness under the arm.
No.
Unless you're a pirate, then it's okay. That's something we've never done as a pirate. We'll have to do that sometime.
I'm going to do small stitches.
Because
we don't have a lot of sleeves, so if you do big stitches, you'll end up with a tiny
Exactly.
For
Right.
this. Okay.
So you're doing your technique, which is basically an overcasting stitch that you're going to gather it. Someone is not making Bixby happy. And you're going to do what, 6, 8, 10?
Yeah,
and
between
pull.
6 and 10 stitches, and we'll pull.
Yeah, and you're doing small stitches. So you've got the nice gathers. Actually, they're just scaled to the doll, which is really nice. You don't want to do people-sized gathers on a miniature costume. And we've seen plenty of them, of things that people have done. Looking nice. The only thing would be better is if you could really do it faster. Can you work on that?
You want me to do it faster?
No,
Oh,
no. I can't. I can barely keep up with it. Camera now. Oh, it's tragic. I think Bixby's trying to tell us he wants his lunch.
okay. That's about an inch. All right, so that's it. So what I do now is I stick my fingers and I compare the opening of the armhole to how much do I need here. Okay, so I need to pull more. And a little more.
Well, not everybody can do this, so you just keep comparing it to the armhole till you get the right feeling.
I think that's what we need.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and knot
Close
it.
that up, knot it. And you've used a double thread, always use when you're doing this gathering to do a
Yes,
double
highly
thread.
recommended. Because if you don't, and the thread breaks, and then you have to start all over
Yeah,
again.
and then you've got a lot of sewing holes.
All right, so I'm going to attach the sleeve to the armhole, and I'm going to compare the seams together, okay?
You're going to match those.
Match this.
And if you get that matched perfectly, the center
You're good to go.
pressing line should work just about.
And I'm going to do invisible stitches.
So you're going in.
Going in where you're coming out and doing a stitch there.
It's so invisible that this camera can't see it.
When I first started working for Michael a long time ago, like 17 years ago, I was attaching a trim to a dress, and he said, "I don't want the threads showing." And when I finally show him the dress all decorated, and he's like, "But I can't even see the thread." I said, "Well, you told me you didn't want to see the threads."
Well, I'm glad you've learned.
Boy, I had to learn, you know.
There's no crying in our beauty shop. Beauty is pain.
Beauty is a pain. Yes, it is.
but people, you can see that the sleeve is going on. It's
just like
such a simple technique,
Like-
and people spend just hours on sleeves. I've seen it with my own eyes. So
I prefer to attach a sleeve by hand than using the machine.
Yeah.
It'll give you a better form, more round. And basically, that's what they did in the 19th century. You know, they would attach the sleeves by hand.
yeah, you would see the whole garment could be made by machine, but when it came to the armhole arms, they would always be done by hand, unless it was a really big doll. You know, we're talking about, that would be different. So I think we've got that. So we'll get the other sleeve on, and then we're moving on. We'll be doing the next phase. We're back. We've finished up inserting the sleeves, and they look really, really nice. The cups are looking really good. We took this moment to put on the hooks that are, there's one hook and one loop at the cuff. So we got that on, so it's all looking really good. So we're gonna now go on to the next step, which is the over sleeve and the over pant, which is a very similar technique that you did to the cuff. So we're gonna do those, and it's one piece of silk, one piece of tarlatan. And we cut this out earlier. You followed that, and now we're going to go back to it, and we're going to pin it. And of course, the nice thing about the silk is it doesn't matter which side it's.
Yeah, there's no wrong or right side.
Yeah. The bulldogs are very tired now. It's an afternoon, and they've had their lunch, and now they're sleeping it off. So this is the oversleeve that we're doing first. But, you know, both of these things kind of go on at the same time, so it doesn't.
Okay, so we got the over sleeves there. And we'll do the over pants.
Pants. And this is kind of something we're going to sew it. We're going to sew both 4 pieces all at once and get it all done.
Okay.
All right, let's sew it. Okay, Lou, you got to go lay down. I'm working right now. Again, we're doing the 1/4 inch allowance, and we're doing 10 stitches per inch. noise in the background, that's David busy packing up boutique orders.
Okay, this is the overpant, and I'm gonna do an oversleeve.
Okay, let's do that oversleeve.
It's the same.
It's a little different shape, but
The different shape, but yeah.
and if you notice the tops, we're not sewing those down because that's going to get turned inside out. And you're going to use the same technique, turning these inside out as you've done with the pant top. Clip the tops. Do a little clip in the V part of the decoration, and then turn it inside out, press it, and then do a basting stitch on the top to close it all up. So we're going to finish this, and then we'll come back to the next step. Okay, we're back, and we have sewn up all of our pieces. Now we're going to clip and turn inside out. So that's your special technique, which is really helpful. So you just clip off the edges, or the tips.
Make some clips here at the at these corners here.
And then we're ready to turn it inside out. First you use your fingers. And then we're going to use your pointer and work it out. That works really good. Everyone should have one of these in there. That looks nice.
Okay.
So we're going to do this on all 4 pieces, and then we are going to baste the top closed, and then we are going to decorate this with the gold and cream trim. The cream trim will be on the outside. That's this trim that's in your kit. It'll be on the outside, and then the gold will be on the inside. I mean, honestly, you could do it the other way around if you like, but it shows up better the way we have it. So we'll turn all these out, and then we're going to start sewing the trim on. We are back, and we have got all the trim on our oversleeve and our overpant. We decided to go ahead and put the bells on, so we've got all the bells in place. It does not say it in your pattern instructions, but down the front there are 6 bells, and we start them at the tip of the pickle, and it goes up, and you can use actually the weave of the gold trim to space them out. Then another thing I wanted to show you was the cuffs. The cuffs get 2 bells at the tip of the point of the upper cuff. And while you're there, you take a couple of stitches and you pull both points together and tack them together. It just makes a nicer look for it. So now we're ready to show you the application of putting the over sleeve on. So we've already done one, but Jose has done his same technique that he used for the, what did we use that for? Oh, for putting the sleeve on.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's the same technique where he will do a whip stitch, about 6 to 10 stitches at a time, small pull as he goes, and then bringing it in. So now we're going to attach it.
Okay, I fold this in half just to center it on top of the shoulder seam. Shoulder seam, yes.
And we're putting it basically right into the groove of the sleeve. And you're going to just go in and you kind of do almost a blind stitch. You're going in and almost the same hole that you're working with. And the stitches don't really show, so. And you're using your size 11.
Size 11 needle, strong needle.
Mine wouldn't, I like short needles, but they would not work for this application. There's too much to go through, so you need this long, thin needle. And by the time this costume's done, that needle's going to be worn out. All right. Get the camera back in position. So we're good. Yes, we're going to just kind of curl it over so we get a little more rounder, but that we're not going to worry about right this second because we've got a few more steps to do. And now the next thing we're going to do is it's the over pant. And it's the same concept as the overskirt for the girl, except it's an overpant.
I have one already gathered, and I'm gonna do the other one. Okay.
So we've pressed it at 1/8 of an inch, quarter. No, that's a half inch, isn't it?
It's 1/8 of an inch.
An eighth.
They can do a quarter.
Yeah, they could do a quarter. The pattern suggests a quarter. You want to do a quarter, 1/8. You can do either one. It's fine. So you're going to do basically your whip stitch technique. And these are basically fairly small stitches. Pull it. if you're hearing a little background noise, it's a beautiful evening here, and we decided to open the front door and let some fresh sea air in. And Forest Avenue, where we're located, is on the main artery for the town, so people drive real fast. If you keep going down Forest Avenue, you will end up in the Monterey Bay. That was somebody who needs to get a tune-up on their car. All right.
Okay, so it's gathered, and I'm gonna compare the width with the first one I gathered already.
And you've
This is the
you've
the
already
length that we need.
covered the spot. I think that, yeah, there you go. And we're going to use the center stripe as our meeting point.
Need to put a little more. Oop.
Uh-oh. You got enough, though. We're good.
Okay, the thread broke, so I'm not gonna start all over. I'm gonna make a knot with my fingers. 3 knots.
What happens even to you?
Of course, you know. I'm no exception. Okay. Now, let me get more thread.
We're gonna go
I'm gonna show you the next. And of course,
What do you need?
my needle. Think I lost it. Okay.
All right, now let's get that on there.
Okay, now we have these 2 pieces already gathered, and I'm just going to compare. Okay. Face to face, the front to front.
And by the way, this is not in your pattern, so instructions. So this is why you're watching the video, because this is a little detail that. It's lovely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is going to be my center. Okay, it's hard to show, but
We're just putting that down like a little skirt, and it goes as far as it goes, and then it stops. So we will stitch this down, and then we will come back and we will go on to the next project. So we're back. We have the overpant on. We have the oversleeve on. We've got the cuffs on. We're ready to go. So the next thing we're going to show you is how to do loops. In your kit, you have hooks and loops. You can use the loops that are in the pet kit, you're certainly welcome to use those. We like to use what the Hooray company would do, which is you make your own loop. So they would just use a hook and then they'd make their own loop. We have done this in white so that way you could see it. So Jose's going to show you how to do these. And once you learn how to do it, it's very, it's something that you're going to use a lot.
Okay, that's one loop.
Explain to them what you're doing.
I'm doing one loop and I'm going to do another one.
So you're going under.
Under the whole fabric, yep. Now you don't want this too tight, okay?
You have to leave a little bit of looseness,
Yes.
because otherwise the hook won't go through it.
The first stitch I'm going to do, I'm going to sew through the fabric, okay?
And you're
Why? Because you want the first knot to be strong and keep the loop in place. And then the second stitch will be like a knot. And then you will go all the way up. And you pull the thread all the way up, okay?
So you're it's almost like a macrame stitch.
Yes. And buttonhole stitch too.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like a circle.
Yep.
Roping a cow, you throw it, root.
Okay. Now I go and make the last one and tie it on the back. Make a couple of knots.
And we've used 3 hooks and
Loops.
hooks and loops in the back, and that's the standard closure on a Hooray garment.
Okay, so there you have it.
All right.
Okay, the next thing will be attaching the hook. I have 2 already sewn on here. So what I do here is secure those 2. And in order to know where you're going to sew the hook, it's by doing this, hooking the ones that you already sewn, and then placing this in place. Here is the loop. I'm going to mark that with a pin.
And that's the best way to do it. I know some people use pencils and things.
Yeah, they
And
can use
I mean, you can do that, but
whatever they
but
feel
then,
comfortable with,
But
yeah.
then you can end up making a little mess on it.
So I'll center the hook right where the pin is coming out. Okay. Remove the pin and just proceed to do the sewing of the hook. I usually do 3 stitches per circle here or hole,
Yeah.
loop, and another 3 over here.
And that's really enough for this.
Yeah. Okay, and then the top.
And you kind of go up to the very top and then you knot it.
There it is, and just knot it.
I don't know if you can hear the sounds, but Bixby's working on his hobby, which is deconstructing boxes. He's having a nice time. Okay, so we've got that done. So we're going to prepare for the next installment, and we'll be with you shortly. So we're back. The costume's fitting perfectly. Now we're getting to the fun part. So in your kit, you're going to have some ribbon, and you're going to take a piece that is 20 inches long. You're going to clip the ends so that they come to a little point or however you like. That's how I like it, particularly with a boy. And then we're going to half it, and at the half fold line, we're going to just do a little simple gather. And we're going to gather it, and then we're going to knot it together. And this we're going to do on the doll. I think these little details that we're going to do, you need to do on your doll. So that wearing the costume, you just sew it on. So we're going to take him, and at the center, underneath his pickle and where his overpant comes up, we're going to tack that in place right there. That's where it's going to be. And we're going to do a couple of stitches there. Just simple little stitches. You don't have to do the most phenomenal work of needlework there, because that pickle bends over and you really can't see it. But it is nice to do a nice job on it. Sit him up or stand him up. And we're not going to be sewing it anywhere else. We're just using, now we're just doing a tie back. We're going to do it in a cute little bow.
That's upside up, so I'm going to turn it.
Turn it the other way, yeah. It doesn't have to be so tight. Because we want to we want it to lay around the waist. We don't want the ribbon flat. We want it to be kind of slightly pleated, but we don't, or folded over, but we don't want to. And we want it fairly loose. Listen, bows, not everybody can do bows, so it's a. And we're not gonna stitch it down because lovely. Okay, now let's look and see how it looks from the front. It looks great, and it helps define. I want you to just press though a little bit down on the side. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Now let's see. Yeah, that helps really give it a great definition. Okay, now we're going to do the same process on the elbow area. So we're going to you're going to cut off 10 inches of ribbon. Again, let's clip the edges. Let's do it now. It's easier to do it before you put it on. Just want to keep as much, yeah, great. So we're going to go to the elbow area, right where the elbow is, and we are going to tie it into a knot. And then we're going to make our bow. This one we are going to go in, and we are going to tack it down. Once we've made the bow. And 10 inches is a little tight, but you know, you can do it.
Oh, sorry, I gotta.
Here, you do it in the way that you're comfortable with. I'll operate the camera. I'm appreciating when there's something that you have to do slow. I don't have to. It's not easy being your cameraman. You just keep working it until it's pretty. Now let's see. We like that, but I think we want to have it facing outward. I think it needs to be tighter around the arm. I think we have to do it tighter. So learn from us, because you don't want to be redoing this ribbon too much. So we want it fairly tight. That's good. And it's going to be easier for you to make your bow. And we'll tack that down.
Okay, I guess.
I think that's
Yeah,
good.
that's good.
Yeah, we'll do the other one, and we will be back with you and show you the next thing we're going to achieve. We have the ribbons around the elbows, and they're looking really lovely, and around the waist, and it really has helped giving the costume definition. And now we're getting to some of the final details on the costume. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to prepare the ribbons for, there's 2 ribbons that go in the front of the collar. So again, you're going to take a 10 inches of your pink ribbon, and you're going to sew end to end, and you're going to use little tiny stitches, and you're going to go sew end to end. And the table's bumping because Annabelle, do you need to see what we're doing? Is this fascinating to you? Is it because that's pink ribbon? Is that what you want? Say hello to everybody. No, she said, I'm out of here. So back to work. We have many interruptions like that during the day. So we have the 2 ends, we're sewing them together. Then you're going to fold it the other way, Jose, so that there you go.
There.
So it's going to go fold it, and you're going to go, fold the other end. There, yes. Okay, so you're going to take your needle and you're going to go all the way to the other end of the ribbon, and you're going to start another. There you go. Now here's the thing. Do not fold it over and gather it on the 2 pieces. It's always one piece of ribbon you're going into. And then when you get those, then you're going to tie it tight down. And then we're going to keep doing that until our loops, we end up with a 1/2 inch loop. There's really no quickie way to do this. It takes time, and if you try to do the 2 pieces together, you're not going to have a fluffy ribbon bow or rosette or whatever you want to call it. There you go. There's a gazillion ways to do a rosette or a bow or it's one of the things that's so time consuming. If you have a garment with a lot of these types of decorations, you just have to take the time to do it. It's so tempting to do it the fast way and like, oh, I'll just grab that and do it. No, it doesn't work. You have to. looks like Jose is going through both layers, but he's not. He's going just through the one. And I think we've got a nice fluffy bow. And then I have mine there, and we'll just see if we can make them match. We're going to just have to do a little hand work to them to get them fluffed out. So we have those prepared. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the lace collar. So in your packet, you're going to have, I forget what number it is, but it'll be the one packet that has lace. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the whole thing, because you're not using this for anything else, the whole piece, that is your collar for Monsieur Polichinelle. So you're going to take the end, both ends, which are going to be raw, and you're going to fold them over a quarter of an inch, and then sew them down. And you really don't be tempted to not do it, because if you don't, it will eventually completely start to unravel. So then this top of the lace is called the header. And I learned that from Cheryl Williams, thank you. So at the header, this first row here, this is where we're going to do our running stitch. So we've already done that. Now all we have to do is pull it and gather. Get it as even as we can. And then we're going to fit it on Monsieur's neck and see how it looks and get it all nice and even. And then we will take, that looks pretty good. And then we will take
it off and make a knot, right?
Take it off and pardon?
Remove it after you measure the length that you want around the neck. You want it nice and tight.
Yep.
Not too tight, right?
Yes.
So there, I'll remove these for now. And I'm just going to knot that.
Going to knot it off. But we're going to leave the thread there because we'll just put it back on and we'll use that for the first attachment. Now this is not going to be sewn within, its life. It's going to be just tacked at the back and a couple of places in the front here and there.
Okay, so
and we should have plenty to go all the way to the back. And you could do this with two ties, where you take your thread and make two ties and just use it as a tie, but we're going to do this way for now. And then we're going to straighten everything up and make sure it's looking nice and fluffy. And then we're going to do a couple of little stitches here and there, and particularly in the front, because we're going to want to bring it down a little bit because it's overwhelming his face a little bit, because he's a roamer, so she doesn't have as long a neck as the Hiray's. So we're going to do a couple little tacks so that it pulls it down so we get more face showing. It doesn't matter where, you can just go right into the top. That's looking really cute. Now we're going to take our bows and we're going to place them and we're going to use it to pull a bit of the lace down. So again, we can pull it away from the face so we have more face showing.
Okay.
It's kind of like at the top of the side of the pickle. But honestly, you can put it wherever it makes you happy.
Okay, so
Getting that right in. And I think it needs to come down just a little smidge. Yeah, just a smidge. No, now that's good. Yeah, just a little tighter. You know, those of you that are sewing alone, you know, it is fun to have a sewing buddy, but it is sometimes just fun to sew by yourself too. The thing about around here is nobody has a problem telling you what it looks like. All right, well, let's do a couple of little tacks because I think that we've got to just have this down a little bit. So let's just do a couple of little tacks just down a little bit. Because remember, we're dealing with not as long of a neck as our other models.
like so.
There, let's just a couple. Nothing to. We don't want it to be sewn down. Oh yeah, that I like that. This is Carl Armstrong's new doll that he's going to be doing for us. It's Georgiana, and she's a glass-eyed roamer. This is the first one, the prototype that he sent. You know, when you get the prototype, you usually, you know, you critique it, but eventually you kind of, they become, you know, you kind of have a little favoritism towards them. So, but, you know, Georgiana was just here for me to say yay or nay, and David to say yay or nay. But, you know, she's been working ever since she got here. Okay, let's see how that looks.
I think this came off.
Sometimes those little impromptu stitches, when we sew them with a hot needle, they pop out. It's really nice lace, don't you think?
Yes. Okay.
Oh yeah, see, I think that looks really cute. It needed those little extra stitches. So, you know, don't feel free to do that so that it looks good on your doll. So I think now I'm going to put he's hair back on because her hair hasn't been glued on because it would get messier than it is. So now, Jose, I want you to grab her hat, his hat, that's behind. Now the hats and the shoes, we've already taught that in the girl class, and there's no difference. So go to those videos if you haven't looked at those already. Go to those because that will teach you that the hat and the shoes and the stocking. So I'm happy with this. Aren't you happy with this?
Yes, very beautiful.
Yeah. I think it was a lot, and it was a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoy making Monsieur Polichinelle. I'm Madame Polichinelle, and we will be seeing you again soon. And thank you for all your support and following the Grovian Doll Museum and Carmel Doll Shop Boutique. Bye bye, friends.
Bye bye.